All right, so we're gonna be making some Tikka Masala in a crock pot. So I've got a bunch of vegetables out here prepped. These are for some other recipes. Basically, I'm gonna kind of go over chopping the vegetables. I'm sure you can figure this out. Basically, this is asparagus. You're gonna lay your asparagus out and cut it long ways. You're just gonna cut your broccoli into little florets, however you prefer it. Okay, that's a personal preference. Mince your garlic. We've already showed you how to do that. Snap peas, you didn't have to do anything for it. So next we're gonna go over this onion. You're gonna peel the paper off of your onion. Then you're gonna cut the ends off, just like so. Take your ends, throw them in your trash pile. And then the way that I like to do it is to cut the onion in half. And it makes it a lot easier to get that last little bit of paper off. Next, slicing this long ways against the grain of the onion. We're gonna hold it together because we're gonna dice it, so we're gonna have to cut it the other way too. And don't worry, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna cook them on a saute pan, so they're gonna cook down. So now we cut long ways, we're gonna cut it the other way. Try to make nice, thin slices. All right, so for our Tikka Masala, what I'm gonna do is I've got my chicken. I've got a mix of chicken tender, or the chicken tenderloin and chicken breast. And then I've got my spices right here. So what I've got is I've got 1.5 tablespoons of garam masala, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. It's gonna give it a little kick, little bite. I've got a tablespoon of paprika, a teaspoon of turmeric, 1.5 tablespoons of cumin, some salt, and some pepper, all thrown into this jar. Okay, so this is my sauce. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just dump it in this big bowl, make it super easy. Make sure you get all of it. That's where the goodness is. And then I'm just gonna kind of toss it around in this bowl. You can turn it by hand, or you can try to be fancy and flip the bowl. And if you're pro, go for it. If you're brand new to this, man, don't make a mess. Just toss it around. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of coat this chicken really, really good in all these spices. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a pan on high heat, and I'm gonna sear this chicken. So you go ahead and stop. Go. All right, so we got our chicken all covered in spice. We're just gonna toss it in our pan. I got the heat relatively high. I don't have it on super high heat because this is a non-stick pan and we don't want to mess it up. But what I'm going to do is just kind of sear this chicken on each side just for about 3 minutes. And I don't have to cook it all the way through because it's going to go in the crock pot. Just going to sear it so it gets that nice golden color. And just get it in where it fits in. Good. Let's go. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and start turning my chicken. I got that nice brown color. Just turn it all over and then leave it on the side for another 3 minutes at the longest. Okay, so we've got our chicken all nice and cooked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to toss it in this crock pot. Doesn't really matter how it goes in. Toss it in, it's kind of browned on both sides. I'm gonna leave it there for a minute. Next, we got some onions and some garlic to cook. So I've already got all that stuff chopped and prepped. We showed you how to chop the onion. We've got other videos that show you how to mince garlic. It's real easy. You just chop it up as fine as you can. They make special food processor attachments to do it. If you have one of those, I highly recommend them. So I've got some of my sauces and oil still left in the pan. So I just used a little bit of spray oil just to kind of add to help keep the chicken from sticking. All that's in there with my spices. I'm just going to kind of toss this in. Toss my garlic in. And I'm just going to turn these till they get nice and brown. You can go ahead. Alright, so I'm starting to get brown. All I'm going to do is just try to keep this stuff moving with my spatula. That way it doesn't burn on one side. I really don't want my garlic to burn. So just try to keep it moving. I still have my heat set on 7. So just like a medium to high heat. Same thing I cook the chicken on. No big deal. Don't have to change anything. But just keep it moving so that it doesn't burn. Okay, you can go ahead. Okay, so I got my onions and garlic nice and brown. I'm just going to add them to my chicken in the crock pot. I haven't turned anything on yet. Just pour that right on top of the chicken. And when they're in that crock pot, they're going to really cook down. Alright. Okay, so I've got my onions, I've got my garlic. You can either buy ginger root and mince it yourself or shred it up, but I really prefer this paste. It's so much easier and it lasts for a long time. So all I'm going to do is just give this a nice liberal little squirt in here. About a tablespoon or maybe a thumb and a half. Next, I'm going to take my can of 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. You got a can opener? Next, I'm just going to add my tomato sauce. Just kind of pour it over the top. And we're almost done here. Next, I'm just going to give everything a brief stir. There you go, this will work. Take your spoon. Give it a shot. And just kind of move everything around. Your chicken, your onions, your garlic, your sauce. Once you get everything nice and covered, all I'm going to do is stick my lid on. I'm going to cook it on high for 4 hours. All right, so our Tikka Masala chicken is finished cooking. Now we're going to turn it into the final product. So I've got 1/3 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. I'm just going to pour this in. And then for the fun part, I'm going to take 2 forks and I'm going to start shredding my chicken. And as I shred this chicken, I'm just kind of mix this heavy cream in. So you just take your fork in there and you just kind of start tearing the chicken apart. If you want to take a look in the pot. And as you mix it up, it turns into that nice classic Tikka Masala orange color. So basically what we taught you how to do with the spices and the heavy cream and the tomato sauce is just make your own Tikka Masala sauce instead of having to pay $7 for it in the store. So even though some of the spices, the garam masala and stuff that you had to use, that's not a real common spice. It's still a lifetime supply. And if you want to make something really flavorful, that's a good one to use. So, got all our chicken nice and shredded up, soaking up in that sauce. And all you're going to do is serve this over some cauliflower rice or just some regular brown rice. And man, you're going to have an awesome dish. All right, that's good.